We are less than a month away from the NCAA tournament, and this year will come with a little extra madness. The first ever 68-team field in NCAA history. With Selection Sunday fast approaching, still a lot of questions that need to be answered. Here now, hopefully, to do that. ESPN.com senior.
I will try.
Yeah, college basketball writer Andy Katz. Yeah, do your best here. Duke won it all last year. Also the only #1 seed to make the Final Four. Right now, as you view seeds and you look at it as a #1 seed, who's the lock to get there?
I'm going to go Ohio State as my lock, as a one that could get to Houston, mainly because they've got the best inside player in Jared Sullinger. He is their anchor, and if things go awry, certainly in the half court, Sullinger can get them a bucket, get to the free throw line, and they have incredible confidence in him doing so. Also, even though they only use about 6 players at times, they've got a tremendous freshman guard in Aaron Kraft, who had a little bit of a poor game against Wisconsin, but he's also matured, and they've got great experience in David Lighty, certainly on the perimeter. Now, I still think Texas can get there, and they'll be a 1, and Pittsburgh, and potentially Kansas. But if you were to make me pick one, which we are, I would go Ohio State as the one that could get to Houston.
Tennessee and Michigan State, we saw in the Elite Eight, both 9-loss clubs last year. So give me a team that's got more than 5 losses that might be in that sort of category this year.
Well, I'm going to go with Tennessee because Tennessee is by far the least predictable team we've seen this season, but at times they have shown that they can compete and beat the best teams in the country. They've already beaten Pittsburgh on the road. They beat Villanova in New York. They won at Georgia on a last-second play. This is a team that certainly can compete at a high level when it wants to. And so I think Tennessee will go in with obviously double-digit losses and yet be a very dangerous seed. And what's going to be interesting for the selection committee is they're going to take Tennessee more probably at their record and seed them lower. And so if you were, let's say, you know, a 3 or 4 or 5 and you see Tennessee in that second round of the Sweet 16, it's going to be very difficult to face a team like that because you know that they can beat not only you, but obviously the teams that are seated ahead of you.
Butler made an incredible run last year all the way to the title game. Who's the mid-major this year that will make a Butler-like run? I'm not saying maybe get to the title game, but have that sort of season.
Well, potentially it could be George Mason. Mason doing a Mason, if you will, in 2006. It's 5 years ago. And it's interesting. This weekend, they're at Northern Iowa in the Bracket Buster. It's very eerily similar that 5 years ago, they went to Wichita State in the Bracket Buster, won that game, and that game was the catalyst to get them an at-large berth. That season, they went to the Final Four, as we all know. Now, George Mason's won 12 in a row. They just won at VCU, and they're starting to pull away in the Colonial. They don't have an NBA player the way Butler did last season with Gordon Hayward and potentially Shelvin Mack and Matt Howard. But Mason has a very good defensive team, good shooting team, and Jim Larinaga was telling me this week he really feels like this team is playing with tremendous confidence and has bought in defensively and certainly rebounding-wise to being a quality team. And if that's the case, certainly if you go on a roll, which is what Butler did last season, they won 25 straight before the NCAA tournament. If Mason can continue this roll, they'll be hot and people will not want to face them in the tournament.
Let's finish out West. Pac-10, couple bids last year. What are they going to get this year, you think?
I think right now it's looking at the same kind of range, 2 to 3. I think actually UCLA may be in the best scenario of any of the 3 because they've got 2 of the better non-conference wins in the Pac-10 against BYU and St. John's. I don't think we'd ever say that in the preseason, but those are 2 top 25 RPI wins. That's better than what Arizona and Washington has. But ultimately, Arizona at the top of the Pac-10, they won again last night. I think they'll get in. I think UCLA will get in. And as long as Washington doesn't collapse down the stretch, I think those will be your 3. Now, if there's a curveball and a 4th team wins the Pac-10 tournament in LA, then that could change things a little. Maybe a Washington doesn't get in if they're not able to get to that Pac-10 final. But I feel very comfortable that UCLA is going to get in as long as they don't collapse, and Arizona winning the Pac-10 regular season, and then we'll see about the Huskies.
All right, good stuff. And you can see more of Andy this afternoon. You and Doug Gottlieb with the honors of first and 10.
Skip may call in from his vacation.
That's true, yeah. No, first and 10.
Especially because I predicted Wisconsin over Ohio State, so I expect him to call in.
I wish he would.